So you're trying to decide if you want to become a real estate agent or not, and what you can expect to make in your first year. Well, that's perfect. Let's check out this video. What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here with the Elevated Realtors. Thank you so much for checking out our channel. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that share so it helps us out with the channel. And again, if you are here to grow, become better, learn more about real estate and what you can do with your time, with buyers, sellers, whatever it is, this is the channel for you. So please go ahead and subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump right in. Today in this video, we are going to cover how much money I made my first year in real estate. Yes, I did make nothing. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll tell you, here's the deal. And I started in real estate in 2015. So yes, the market was a little bit different, but I will tell you, when I came from the construction industry, never touched sales before in my life. So if you are an introvert or you don't know what you're doing or you have no clue, it can be done. You can make the switch and you can become successful in all relative terms. Again, it depends on what your design of success is. So, but jumping into it, here's kind of where I'm looking at. For 2015, it was April 13th, 2015 was the first day that I was unemployed. So I jumped in head first. I thankfully had a mentor when I first started in the industry that she pretty much told me that you have to do this head first. I'm not saying that has to be your path, but that was mine. So I left my cushy job. I was a project manager making 6 figures a year. I was doing, had the company truck, company insurance. I had it all, in all intents and purposes. I was doing well. I had a lot of conversations with my wife at the time, still is my wife, by the way. I had a lot of conversations with my wife. We had no kids. And I just said, you know what? I think it's time for me to make a switch. I don't like what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and make this switch. And I was nudged in a couple different directions and ultimately landed on real estate. So I went from my job, my project management job, and what I had on that side of it and what that looked like. And then I jumped right into real estate. So from April 2015 to December 2015, I sold 7 houses. Yeah, I was happy about it. Don't get me wrong, I was happy about it. My lowest price sale that I did that year in 2015 was $150,000. That's how much the house cost. The highest price for that year that I sold that year was $248,000. So needless to say, I think I lost money that year. I was just getting going. I think I made like $32,000 that first year, not even first year, but that first timeline. So the one I'm gonna really kind of touch base on is when I had that full year of experience and able to kind of do what I needed to do. So from April to December, I sold 7 houses. It was a bleak year. Really kind of didn't really know what I was doing. I was still trying to get my feet underneath me, all that kind of stuff. But then switching into what I consider my rookie year, if you will, for 2016, I really kind of buckled down in 2015 and said, okay, I have to make this work, because we found out we were pregnant. We were having my son at the time, my firstborn, my son. We started kind of rolling into that one and kind of really going after it, but with the business. And so what happened is that we decided, okay, we have to figure this out together, we being my wife and I. And so I really just kind of buckled down and went after it. So from January 16 to December of 16, I ended up selling 43 houses that year, 43. So I went from 7 to 43. I really kind of get after it. My cheapest house that I sold was $49,000. Yes, we have a $49,000 house in Manhattan, Kansas, or at least I think that one was in Riley actually. But so that was my cheapest house, and then my most expensive house that I sold that year was $400,000. So it was quite a range of what it was. I think my average sales price that year was about $180,000, $190,000 for everything that way. But it was such quite an amazing learning experience, and it was just absolutely, it was fun. We had fun. We were doing a lot of stuff. We were broke as hell, didn't really know what we were doing, but we were trying. And so we kind of went after it. So really just kind of buckled down on making sure I was doing the tasks, making sure that we were doing all the work, making sure we're getting all that stuff taken care of. and what you can kind of expect with all of that. On average, this is kind of an industry average, just to kind of give you an idea. Industry average, each agent is making about 2.5% to 3% per transaction. Just depends on what's been negotiated, what you're able to do. In our market, it depends on if you're buy side, sell side, all that stuff kind of depends. So I'll kind of break it down, what you can kind of expect on some of that stuff. Some deals are going to be better than others. Things that you don't really think of when you're selling real estate are, taxes, insurance, then brokerage fees, then really marketing fees, and anything along with those. So kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at there. So let's just run off that $400,000 deal. What I did on that one is I actually went in and did a $400,000 at 2.5%, gives me about $10,000 to play with on that one side. Sounds like a lot of money, right? Which it was. I mean, for me, trust me, I was not batting an eye at it. But here's what happened is that my brokerage split, which at the time I'm no longer with this brokerage, but my brokerage split at that point in time was, I was only getting 55% of that. So you run all that out, so $4,500 gets cut off right off the top, okay? So then you gotta look at that. So now I'm playing with $6,500. I've got, let's just say $500 in marketing fees because I had the listing. A couple $100 in gas fees as far as driving clients all over and doing stuff that way, driving to the house. That house in particular, I remember it like it was yesterday. That house in particular was in Frankfurt, which was about 45 minutes to an hour each way for me to go there. But again, I was hungry. I was going after it. I was trying to make sure I got as much as I could. And then kind of going after it. So then looking at gas and clothes and shoes and MLS dues and all of that stuff, like you can see how quickly your money gets whittled down to pretty much nothing. So you have to really kind of budget for this stuff. I mean, you can get pretty slim with a lot of it, but really budgeting and making sure that you're taking care of those things and making sure you've got a lot there. So that's what I would say on that one. Just kind of pay attention to what you have in the bank and what you're able to do there. That's just if you're looking at if you're looking at just a regular brokerage and what you can kind of expect. And then if you want to do your team splits, which some people are part of teams, I would recommend it if you're new or if you're not motivated or if you need that help and all that kind of stuff. Either one, have a good mentor, or two, jump on a good team that can actually take care of you. There will be team splits. Everybody's team splits are a little bit different. I've seen them where it's 20% off after the broker takes their fees. It's, so there's a lot of differences on that stuff. So just kind of giving you an idea of what that looks like. But so team splits, I would recommend them if you're a new agent and you don't really kind of have an idea, or if they're feeding you leads, or if they're taking care of you on that end of it. It just kind of depends on what you're getting for that team split that you're having. And that's the thing with the brokerage too. At least in Kansas, I know that you got to spend about 2 years with the brokerage to actually learn underneath them. Not necessarily with one brokerage, but before you can start your own. But team splits are a good one too. You can get a lot of success from those teams and still be able to enjoy your time as a real estate agent. So I know that's the number you guys have all been waiting for, but I'll tell you my Q1 of 2016, I made a whopping, that's January through March, I made 9,000, here, let me have my list here. Q1 of 2016, I made $9,854.63. Huge numbers, right? No. It was great. Like I said, I was learning. I was starting to get my momentum going, really starting to roll with some stuff. And then kind of got going. And I will tell you that Q1 typically is a little bit slower for a lot of people. It just depends on how much you're working. In real estate, you've got a lag of about 3 months. So everything I'm doing in October, I usually will see it happening or see it selling in January when I actually realize the money. So that was a big one. Q2, I actually was still moving, working quite a bit. Q2, I made $57,921.30. And again, starting in January, I really kind of got after it and started finding buyers and sellers and working off all that kind of stuff. So it started hitting in that April, May, June time period when a lot of our market's pretty hot and all that stuff too. Q3 of that year, I made $41,974. Same thing, just kind of kept rolling with it. And that was about what I averaged that year, is about that $45,000 mark. Q4, I ended with $49,864.18. So I just kind of kept moving with it. That year in 2016, I had a goal, a personal goal of mine, to hold 52 open houses. Because that was one of my biggest lead generation tools, was actually doing open houses. So I held 54 that year. I had 54 open houses that year, and for a grand total of earnings that year was $159,614.10. Now, I want to put a caveat to all of this. This money, this stuff doesn't just show up. Okay, if you're just gonna kind of sit back and say, well, I got my license, I hope I'll get some people in here, it's not gonna happen. I worked my tail off. I went out there, I did the door knocking, I did the cold calling, I did the expired calls, I did the open houses, I did the work, and I got in front of as many people as I possibly could as I was starting to build that brand. Now, the thing I'll tell you with that is, I was at that point in time, for 6 months, 7 months of that timeline, we had no kids. So all I was a husband at that point in time, which is still important, but I didn't have kids and stuff to mess with, or really to kind of throw a wrench into things. But that's kind of what, not saying that kids do, but they do. But that's the thing. So you got to kind of pay attention to that. So where your priorities are and stuff. That was mine. That was a huge motivator for me that year. So finding out what motivates you and what drives you to actually become better. Mine in 2016, get my ass out there, start selling houses, start working on that, because I needed to make money for my family and my newborn baby that was there. So that was a huge motivator. My wife was a rock star. She took care of the kid every single day. I still kept rolling in my open houses. And she knew we were in build mode. And we still are, don't get me wrong. We're still in build mode. We're still moving. We still got to move houses. We still got to sell stuff. We still got to work on that direction of it. So having those ideas and kind of giving you an idea on that piece of it, just making sure that you kind of understand where you're going to be, what you can kind of expect. Every market's a little bit different. I know that if you're looking in Seattle, you can sell a total of 20 houses and end up selling or earning $200,000 in revenue. If you sell 5 houses in New York City, you're going to end up earning, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in revenue, because you're selling $1 million houses. My market, that's what we did. Every house, every contract is the same amount of work as it is for a $50,000 house or a $1.4 million house. It just really kind of depends on what you can kind of expect. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I made my first year. If you guys have any questions about your team splits, your brokerages, anything like that, more than happy to reach out. More than happy to have you reach out to me and talk to me. My number is 785-477-5485. My email is kyle@homesforsalemhk.com. I'm here to help. My partner and I, we are trying to get this channel up and going, so go ahead and hit subscribe, go ahead and hit the like button, go ahead and share this, because it helps us out with the Google or YouTube analytics and whatnot. But we are here to try and level up the professionalism in the real estate industry. So please, please, please reach out if you have any questions. I am more than happy to help you out. My name is Kyle Powers with the Elevated Realtors at eXp Realty. We'll talk soon.